So today, I and Dr. Jaran will lead it and talk about the data science in general and how to become a data scientist and what approaches you can use. And meantime, we'll talk about our bootcamp and how we are different than other bootcamps, what we offer, what we provide. And Dr. Jaran, I briefly introduce myself and then I will introduce Dr. Jaran as well. So I'm a Magnimind co-founder and Stanford scientist. My background is physics, biophysics, computational biology. I have degrees in different times, and I've done all data science in my academic and industrial career. And at Stanford, I am in the School of Medicine and Neurology and Radiology departments and doing AI healthcare work. And Dr. Jaran has a different route, but we met in the same place at Silicon Valley. He is actually faculty in San Jose State University, and he was previous faculty in KAIST University in Korea and Santa Clara Universities. And he's been doing a lot of different computational research and recently a lot of AI in healthcare research, a lot of research with Stanford and other universities he's affiliated with. So, and he's one of the best teachers that I've seen, and just wanna hear from him. So, Dr. Jaran.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Badai, for the introduction. Thank you so much, sir. Welcome to our meetup today. We are going to talk about, in general, why should we become a data scientist? And is there any easy way to get to that path? And what is that? So I'm assuming that we are all interested in becoming data scientists. I'm assuming that, again, the assumption is we don't know much about the field. So if you already know about the field or if you're already in the field, this presentation, the first part is going to be a little bit boring for you, repetition of what you already know. So during the presentation, please stop me and then ask me if you have any questions. Do not hesitate. The way we are going to have this presentation is I'm just going to first briefly introduce you what are the subfields, the disciplines data science field is composed of. Okay, that is going to be the first thing. Second, I just want to give you an idea about how much data scientists are making. So I just collected this data from, you can easily collect this data from different sites. I used a specific site to collect the data from. And then we are going to talk about what kind of areas people are receiving questions from in data science interviews. And I'm going to share with you a couple of job postings I actually collected yesterday, just to show you that what kind of skills the companies are looking for. And then the next thing is a very brief conversation about, okay, so what? So yeah, we learned about data scientists, job descriptions and how much they're making. And let's say we want to become a data scientist. Now what? So what are we going to do? So I'm going to briefly have some conversation about that. And then maybe Dr. Badai and I can share with you what we are doing as Magnimind, to motivate you and then maybe to push you to become a data scientist. Okay, so first of all, data science is not a single field. So it is a combination of different disciplines. Again, for those who are totally new into this topic, please do not get scared. But it is a fact. It is a combination of different disciplines. So you have to have a strong background in mathematics, statistics. Here it says algorithms. I would say algorithms. I want to separate it into, say, machine learning algorithms and then algorithms related to software. Okay, so let's say you have some some background in mathematics and statistics, you learned about, say, machine learning, statistical models, and then you have some background in coding. I'm not saying you're going to have as much coding experience as a software engineer, but without coding, data science is not possible. So that's a fact. So you have to write your code. So most of the companies may require you have as much coding experience as a software engineering candidate who can solve easy to medium questions from, let's say, Lead Code. So it's a website which has all these nice algorithm questions on software. Maybe you may be aware of that. So in addition to algorithms in software engineering, you might also be a little bit familiar with data structures. So that might be handy for you later on when you write the code, when you say deploy a model. By the way, you need to be familiar with cloud and how you can deploy a model in the cloud. And then, of course, you should have some background on how you can visualize the data, how you can communicate data to those who are listening to you, those who may be coming from a non-technical field, right, background, and then they want to know what you're doing. So imagine yourself describing your inferences on the data to an audience who don't know anything about machine learning, anything about statistics. How would you let them, get the idea from the data? So you need to have strong communication skills, and that communication skills should be supported by data visualization. So in that case, people may ask you if you have any experience on business intelligence using some of the tools like Tableau. So these are all skills that I just gave you a really big circle, and inside the circle there are so many different skills. So you may not have all of them, and I'm not suggesting have all of them at once now, but I just wanted to give you the idea how broad the area is when you say data scientist. It has also common areas with a data analyst, with a data engineer, which are slightly different than a data scientist. Let's look at a little bit more into the required skills from a different angle. So a data scientist is going to be someone who has some engineering flavor, some data visualization, more machine learning, and there is something here which was missing from the previous graph, business context. So that's, I always say this is the most exciting side of becoming a data scientist. You are going to be working on different domains. Say you are in solving a problem for a retailer, and then you might be solving another problem for a healthcare provider, and then you might be solving another problem for a manufacturer. So these are all different domains where you need to have business context. So you cannot become a data scientist if you are not familiar with the business domain, the context of what you're doing. So what the context of the problem, right? Then you cannot become a good data scientist, because data is just a bunch of numbers. So those numbers are going to be meaningful if they are interpreted within the context. Then again, if like with Dr. Badai, right? So let's say we are conducting research in medical field. I mean, more or less, after a while, you're going to have something, some idea, some knowledge about the context. Otherwise, again, I'm repeating, you cannot be a good data scientist. Okay, so let's look at some of the motivational numbers. All right. Again, I got these numbers from interviewquery.com, but you can find these numbers posted on different sites. There's a Glassdoor also is announcing these numbers. So people, after they receive the offers, they share their data science salaries. I just found this source very resourceful for these numbers. So I just picked those numbers from there. So the average base salary right now is $122,000. Again, based on the figures they received from 50,000 data science job offers. So there is a difference between base salary and total compensation. Those who are from United States, we know very well, right? So in addition to what you receive as salary, you are receiving maybe a bonus or stock options, or on top of that 401k, some additional benefits. So average total compensation is the total amount coming as a package to you. So this number is not too bad, right? 122. I'm going to give you a little bit more detailed numbers, but again, 122K is not so bad. So let's look at a little bit on how the salaries changed over the time. So since 2015, I know the data science hype began to form around 2018, 2019. So we always had this excitement about machine learning, data science, but around 2018, 19, right before the, say, pandemics, right? So the hype formed, and during the pandemic, I think it made the peak. Those really large companies hired maybe more than they needed at the time, data scientists. So you might have heard about this buzzword, data scientist, data science, data analyst, all around. So the salaries are steadily increasing, and if you compare, data scientist, data engineer, machine learning engineer, or business analyst, if you compare their salaries, so you see that machine learning engineer is doing, I mean, I wouldn't say slightly, but considerably better than a data scientist, because on top of what you know as a data scientist, machine learning is more about developing algorithms, deploying the model. It's closer to, it's a good combination of actually data scientist, data engineer, and software engineer. So you need to have a very strong programming background. But still, I mean, when you compare data scientists with data analysts and business analysts and business intelligence, so still you are doing as a data scientist, I mean, I think considerably better. And then on top of what you know as a data scientist, you can become a machine learning engineer after a while, or you can directly target becoming a machine learning engineer. Again, let's look at how the salaries are changing over time with respect to other closed fields. As you see, all of them are steadily increasing, right? I mean, some of them are slowly increasing, but there is an increase in the salaries. Maybe we should have also consider the effect of inflation here. Okay, so how about the positions as a data scientist when you enter into the field, how it is becoming different when you advance, right? Becoming more senior, maybe becoming a manager. So again, as you see, as you move upward in the seniority ladder, right? So the salary is increasing. Right. So again, for an entry-level data scientist, I think the numbers that we saw are more or less pronounced for an entry-level data scientist. Those mean values I showed you at the very beginning. As you become more senior in the field, your salary is increasing. So why am I showing this data now? I mean, learning about data science, right? You're gonna invest a lot of time and effort. So this investment, what is the return on this investment? So what are we expecting in return after 5 years? I think the return on this investment is going to be good. I mean, that's what the data is showing. If we don't see a really too drastic change in the field in the next 5 to 10 years, right? So there is still, the trend is still moving forward, and then showing that it's going to be a very, very good investment if you start learning about data science now. By the way, I forgot to check if there are any questions. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, let me continue. Please feel free to make comments, or if you have any questions, I'll be very happy to see them. So again, I put together the salary information from some of the cities in the US, Canada. I don't know if you are participating from Europe, some countries. So the trend, the average numbers are more or less the same, but you will see some difference between the cities in the United States. Again, we are living in the Bay Area. We know Bay Area is expensive, and you expect to have higher salaries in the Bay Area. On top of that, most of these really large companies are located in the Bay Area, and they want to attract the best of the talent. So that's why they are giving above the average. So when you compare what you receive in the Bay Area with anything else, so any place else in the United States, so you will see that salaries are a little bit higher in the Bay Area. Again, I know a lot of friends during the pandemic moved to different cities. They are working remotely. So that's another advantage of having a job in the Bay Area, but working remotely from another location. So that I don't know how it's gonna change in the future. Okay, so I also put some salaries again, mean or the range of salaries for different companies. On the left hand side, these are the top the data scientist salaries from the companies providing the top salaries. So Netflix has always, so for a long time, been the king of salaries in terms of providing high salaries to data scientists. So just keep in mind that, yeah, I would be very happy to receive that high salary in such a company, but maybe I would prefer a little bit lower salary, but in a company where the probability of being laid off is small. Okay, but on the left hand side you see the really high salaries. On the right hand side I put some companies, maybe you know the names like Home Depot, right? You know the name, or Staples. So some companies that are giving again above the average, but not too bad, right? Not too bad. So again, you can have some idea about where you can start from and where you can go to. Okay, so there is a really wide range in terms of salaries based on your skill set. So again, as you invest more on yourself in this area, maybe you have a better chance to switch to a company which is doubling your salary. So again, that's all totally depending on how much you put effort on yourself as an investment. So let me see if there's a question here. Oh, yeah, I didn't put, so the companies, Google, so they are not in the, so surprisingly, I was also surprised. Surprisingly, they are not in this, they are providing top salaries, but they were not among these guys. So the mean salary for data scientists is less than what these companies are giving. So I know that was also my expectation. I was expecting to see Meta or Google or Amazon. So they are top salaries companies, but they're not as much giving as these guys. So they did not appear in here. But you can easily find how much they are giving. They are giving more than these guys on the right hand side. They are in between right and left. Okay. All right, so let's also now talk about, so we had some idea about what is the average salary in the market as an entry level, as a senior person. We have some idea about how much you would expect when you get into this field and start working as a data scientist. And now, so most of us naturally are interested in joining one of these really top companies like Google or Amazon. So then what is required from me to get into these top companies? What should I do? What should I know? First of all, let's accept the fact that these companies are actually trying to get the best of the best in the market. So yeah, targeting these companies is good, but let's be realistic. Okay, let's be realistic. So I mean, as a beginner, we may not make our way into these big companies right away. Let's be realistic, but it's a very good target to set for yourself to get into one of these really big companies. Maybe you may work in a smaller company for a while, get some experience, and then apply. Maybe if you're really good, if you really studied, and then if you are a little bit lucky too, so you can get into one of these top companies. Right? So let's now see what kind of the interview questions these guys are asking, just to see, right, what is expected from us to know as a data scientist. So this is Google interview, guys. Again, these guides are formed based on what people reported after they went through the interview process. Okay, some of us might have gone through these interview processes, so you may have a good idea about what kind of questions these guys are asking. Again, these are based on what people are reporting after they receive the interviews. And also these companies are providing a very, very good interview guideline on what you should expect in the interviews. So you might have seen, again, their documents. So they clearly tell you what topics you should actually focus on. So overall, in general, as an average data scientist, if you take average of all the questions in the interviews people are asking, so as a data scientist, I would say you need to know SQL. Okay, you need to know SQL. So knowing SQL is going to may give you actually you can simply get a job because you know SQL. Let us put it in a very simple term. You can easily get a job because you know SQL. So SQL is there, Python is there, and then statistics is there. As you see, Google is putting a lot of emphasis on statistics. So companies might differ in terms of what they actually put emphasis. That also depends on how they define what data scientist is. So that is going to define what their expectations are from a data science. So Google is expecting you to know to have a really good statistics foundation. So they're going to ask you questions on statistics and probability. But then you need to know Python. So as far as I know, they're not asking too much on SQL, Google data scientist interviews, but statistics and then probability. So you should know a little bit on machine learning. They're not going to expect you to know all these really fancy machine learning algorithms, but you should definitely be perfect in terms of your foundation, in terms of linear regression, say logistic regression, how you're going to interpret these coefficients, what is p-value, right? It's very simple, but extremely important things that you should know about basic machine learning algorithms. I also put what is required from a machine learning engineer in terms of Google's interviews. As you see, algorithms and machine learning and programming. So it's basically what you are as a data scientist. On top of that, you need to be extremely good at coding. And coding includes algorithms, data structures, as well as detailed knowledge, almost like creating machine learning algorithms from scratch. Can you write the code for KNN regressor or KNN classifier from scratch? Okay, so this is Amazon interview. So I know Amazon has a little bit more, is a little bit more specific about, say, requirement for SQL. So they want you to know, for example, if you compare Amazon and Google's data scientist interview, they want you extremely be extremely comfortable with SQL. So if I give you a data set, are you going to be able to aggregate? Are you going to be able to parse the data types? Are you going to be able to filter the data? And then, by the way, are you going to be able to do the same thing using SQL versus Python's, say, pandas and NumPy libraries? Okay, so Amazon is a little bit more specific about giving the right answer, and then knowing SQL and Python and machine learning. So as you see, Amazon's expectation from a data scientist is slightly different than Google. But in terms of machine learning engineering, you don't see too much of difference. So I give you another company. By the way, you might have heard about the news in the last couple of months, starting from last year's the last quarter of last year and this year first quarter. So companies laid off like Google, Amazon, and Meta. They had they laid off a lot of employees, and of course some of them were data scientists. So again, if you read around and then if you had listen to news, so this most people are saying that this is due to excessive amount of hiring happened during the pandemic, and then they're now adjusting. Apple, you didn't see layoffs with Apple. Apple was a little bit different. They behaved a little bit different than the others. So if you look at Apple's interview guides, it's almost covering the average data scientist requirements. So they're asking from all these different topics that a data scientist should know about. So again, SQL is there, Python is there, machine learning is there, statistics and probability, they are all there. I also put some slides on, say, let's say you want to join Walmart. Walmart still is hiring a lot of data scientists, by the way, in different locations in the US, not just Silicon Valley. And as you see, Walmart is specifically asking that you know machine learning. Okay, so I have friends working at Walmart, so I know that you need to know machine learning and SQL, of course. Okay, so again, a couple of examples from banking sector. So banking sector is more interested in, say, fraud detection, right? So they might ask you to know specifically about Have you ever done any fraud detection? So if you had any chance receiving an interview from a bank, this is one of the questions you're going to receive. So probably they didn't have too much data because people may have not reported, but I know that they are going to ask you fraud detection algorithms, machine learning, and SQL. Again, SQL. I'm repeating this, even though we have, I mean, not all data we are receiving is structured, but SQL is still the king. So you need to know SQL. Okay. I also put some job postings. I just collected them yesterday. Okay? Yesterday. So let's see. This is decision scientist. I would say it's related to data scientist from Apple. So Apple is saying 2 years of work experience. Okay. On top of that, fluency in SQL, right? Fluency in SQL and proficiency in Python. So which one I should learn, Python and R? Well, I mean, if you know one of them, it's good. But if you're gonna start learning, I would suggest learn Python. It has become the industry standard. Okay, so let's look at a data scientist position from Walmart. So Walmart is more explicit about the requirements. You might also have seen the tendency in the interview question. So it says there's a minimum education requirement, right? Bachelor's or master's degree, but the skills required experience implementing machine learning techniques. So they are specifically saying that you need to know machine learning, including, look, regression and classification, and on top of that, ensemble models. So they are also saying, you know, you should know about say random forest models. You should know about XGBoost, for example, right? So, and then experience with big data processing, including Hadoop, MapReduce, or Spark. So, I mean, Walmart is keeping the net a little bit wider, okay, a little bit wider. Okay, let's look at another job posting. So these are some companies that honestly, I didn't know about them. I know HP, but I don't know these companies. I just put them here so that we have some idea about what these guys are asking for. Again, they are saying critical thinking and problem solving. So what is this? Most of this, even the big companies, if you apply to Amazon, Google, I mean, all these interviews, you're going to receive 5 interviews if you pass the screening one. All these questions they're asking you, it's not about, it's about, digging if you know Python, if you know SQL, or if you know machine learning. But more than that, they're looking for if you are sharp enough to solve problems. Okay, so that's what they're looking for. If you are sharp enough to solve vague new problems, that's what they're looking for. So this guy said critical thinking and problem solving. How are we going to measure that? That's why we are having these 5 different people looking at you and then asking questions. So there is this majority vote, right? So there is this observation they are making, asking those giving those hints, and then making the question slightly different, and then see how you're going to react, right? So they have a way to measure your critical thinking and problem solving skills. So this company made it the first qualification. Again, experience, but let's see. Significance experience in data mining, machine learning, operations research. So what is operations research? Probably this company might be a retailing company, but let's focus on data mining and machine learning. So they ask you to manipulate data, maybe collect the data, and then implement machine learning on it. What else? Oh, these guys also, on top of that, they want you to be a little bit of data analyst. So they ask you to have Tableau too. Oh, okay. And then a good knowledge of R or Python. And if you're familiar with Scala and C++, so you see, these guys are asking for someone who is a potential data scientist, data analyst, and data engineer. So if you go to a smaller company, you're going to do your job description is going to be wider. You're going to be doing the job of multiple people. So I would suggest for those who are totally new into area, finding a job position in a smaller company at first, and then try to learn as much as you can, so that later on you can use these skills to jump and then move into a larger company and then enjoy a bigger salary. Okay, let's look at this this position. Again, a bachelor's degree, deep theoretical understanding of modern machine learning algorithms, statistical models, or optimization. So again, the requirements, right? Machine learning, statistical models, again, R or Python, right? Python or R. SAS is another, I don't know if you guys used, any of you used before. I used SAS before. It's another commercial, what is that? Really language which is used for really handling really huge data sets. Okay, it's an expensive tool actually. And then SQL. SQL is also here. All right, let me now move into a different question. There's a question here. Oh, you did, Mirala, you did use SAS. Yeah, it's an interesting tool, right? So it's just working on the data line by line, taking row by row. And then you can run SQL on SAS. So years ago, so I used SAS 10 years ago, maybe. Since then, I began to use R or Python, but SAS is still, some companies are, I mean, almost locked into SAS, and then it's a very strong, like a very powerful, actually, tool to use. Okay, so now let's talk about what we should do. Yeah, we'd like to join the area where we want to enjoy the salaries, and then more than salary, we are knowledge workers, right? So we want to use our skills in an area that we enjoy, and then in return, get good salary. So how can we learn data science, right? So should we join a boot camp? Should we join a master's program? So as a faculty, I taught in master's programs. Okay, I taught in master's programs. I know the curriculum. I know what it takes to finish the program. I know who are teaching more or less in universities in the programs. So how you compare those two, boot camp or master's program? There are great master's programs in the nation. So specifically in the Silicon Valley too. So master's programs are designed to meet the demands of the market, right? So if you have time, and then if you want to invest money on your education, a little bit more money on your education, and then if you have long-term goals, right, then a master's program might work for you. Okay. One disadvantage that people generally criticize about master's programs is that the key courses, like very core courses, are taught by faculty who do not have the market experience. So that might be a valid critique on how say data science is taught in most of the master's programs in the nation. So that's one thing that I would be careful about. Okay, so when I'm picking a master's program, again, if you have time and if you have more money to invest on your education, and then if you have long-term goals, then a master's program, for example, if you looked at the requirements from those big companies, they were listing a master's degree, but then they say, or equivalent experience of 2+ years in data science. Then how about boot camps? So boot camps are going to be considerably cheaper. They are going to be in a really fast pace, okay? So you're not going to have maybe as reputable as a master's program. You're not going to have a diploma or a certificate as reputable as a master's program. But boot camps are designed to actually shape you and then push you into market as quickly as possible. So if you don't have too much time, and if you have really high motivation, and if you don't want to spend too much money, right? So then boot camps might be a good choice. And one thing about boot camps, they might bring people from the industry easily, and then make you interact with them. So that's might be a good plus side from the boot camps. Okay, so again, if you want to start working in a short time, and if you're prepared to make time commitment, what it takes to finish a boot camp, 15 to 20 hours a week, you're going to invest your time on learning in a fast-paced environment where people are not going to wait for you to learn this so that they can move to the next. Okay, so you're going to see statistics and then Python and SQL and machine learning coming all around. Okay, so you need to really be ready for a fast-paced instruction. Okay, and then, but then if you have long-term goals and then you want more relaxed environment, and then it's okay if you set aside 1.5 years of your time, then I think master's degree will be working much better for you. Okay, so far we have again some idea about what are the requirements of becoming a data scientist. Just to wrap it up, so we need to know programming. So it's either Python or R. Again, on top of that, as you see, you can use this Stata here. Stata is more used for research institutions. I don't see Stata used in companies actually. And SAS, I included SAS in here. Definitely you need to know about databases. Definitely you need to know SQL. So you need to do, again, data analysis with Python. Whatever you do with SQL, take the same question, try to solve the same question using SQL and Pandas. Okay, do that, please. And of course, machine learning. And then some companies, as you see, are requesting, you know, algorithms and data structures that will increase your salary. That will increase your salary. So all these things are waiting for you, okay? So you need to attack them and learn them if you want to become a data scientist. So some suggestions based on my experience, with interaction with the students. Please, if you just started learning this field, stick to one language, okay? So it can be R, it can be Python, whichever, but stick to one language. Learn about one language first, and then you may learn the second. Second, please be very clear about your motivation. So do you really want to be a data scientist? Because it's not easy to learn data science. Again, let's be realistic. Nobody's gonna give you 150K, 200K, just because it is so easy to get into this area. Everybody will get into the area, right? So it is not so easy. We are gonna, invest your time, your money, your effort. Be very clear about your motivation. The third one, I see this so common. Please do not get stuck in the tutorial carousel. So what does that mean? So there is so much material available on the internet. You can go and watch from YouTube. You can go and read a book, listen to all these different instructors. There is so much available. Actually, you don't need to go to any school. You don't need to join any boot camp. You don't need anything except an internet connection. But the problem is, I see over and over again. So the person is just making circles like in a carousel, right? Making circles, jumping from one tutorial to another, but never ever having the courage, or maybe feeling like I'm ready for it. They're never starting a real project. Okay, so that is one of the things that I see missing in the market too. So not having an opportunity to start with some real project. Okay, something related to this tutorial carousel, because there is so much of resources available. Please narrow down your resources. Okay, pick a small set of resources, and it's very easy to see which resources you should pick. Just search. Okay, so you will see that you will see the comments and the user reviews of online resources. Pick a small set of them and then finish them. So one instructor makes pick an instructor. He makes a plan for you. Okay, so an instructor is going to make a plan. First chapter, second chapter, third chapter. So I'm gonna teach this in the 5th chapter. I'm gonna teach this 6 weeks later. So there is a program. Okay, so do not leave the program after the first 1 or 2 sessions. You're not gonna gain anything from that. Let me show you a figure. Actually, I updated this figure 2 weeks ago, March 17th. So what is that? I'm pretty sure if you ever wondered about machine learning, one of the names you might have seen at YouTube is Andrew Ng. So he was a Stanford professor. He's the co-founder of Coursera, and you might have seen his machine learning course for free. It's all available. So his earliest course was he was using MATLAB. Now I think he has a new version with Python. So what is this? I just collected the data from YouTube. So this 1.1, 1.2 is his lectures on the first chapter, then that second chapter, then the third chapter. So on the y-axis, you are seeing number of viewers. So the first couple of classes, sessions, so he starts with more than 1.6 million viewers. Then the number is dropping sharply. There's a sharp decline in number of viewers as you move forward. So later on, you might see some sparks here. So because spikes here, because people might be interested in, say, learning about specifically about, say, random forests or maybe support vectors. So from time to time, you might see some spikes happening, but the same trend you will see after the spike again. There is a decrease. So what is this? What is this figure telling me? There are two things this figure is telling me. All right. The first one, this tutorial carousel, and then switching from one source to another. It's happening here. Okay. So people are starting to learn something, and then because it requires some motivation, some willpower, right? So after a couple of sessions, either they get bored or they feel like they don't understand. They find it boring because they don't understand, and then they just stop. Okay, so that is the first thing I observe. Second thing is related to the first one. If you are alone in this journey, most likely that is what we are going to end up with. If we are alone in this journey, most likely this is what we are going to end up with. That is the second thing I infer from this. So that's why I always suggest, please, after you pick your resources, if you are somebody who learns by himself, by herself, go for it. Okay. But most of us are going to lose our motivation. So I'm a little bit overweight. I know that I need to lose weight, right? I know what to do. I should eat less, but I don't, right? I don't have the willpower to do that. So most people join these coaching sessions, come together. Let's do start a diet all together. So why? Because community gives you power. So join a community, immerse yourself in the community. So what is that community? Or master's degree is a community. So you go to school, there's a class, so it's a community. A boot camp is a community. So there's a group of people you join, you feel support from each other, it's a community. Or a couple of people come together from now on, every week, we're gonna meet once or twice a week. But here are the resources we agree on. Let us finish this all together. So joining in a community or a group of people is going to help you get motivated. Anyways, and then find a mentor, which is very, very difficult. People are very busy. So there are some programs which might help you find a mentor, but finding a mentor is extremely difficult. So please get ready if you want to learn about data science, become a data scientist, switch your career, get ready that to sacrifice some weekends, weeknights from your family time, maybe at least, I would say 24 weeks. So 4 to 6 months. So it is not easy. If you're not going to make the sacrifice, you're not going to learn it. So again, let's be realistic. So this is what I wanted to share with you. I'm sorry, I forgot. So any suggestions on books, guys? This book is for free. Okay, it's available free. It's on the internet. It's available. So this is a fantastic book. Okay, so if you really understand this book, like go through this book, for most companies, you have enough knowledge to manipulate data. Even at the end, towards the end, he's talking about linear regression, logistic regression, support vector machine, very key machine learning algorithms. It's a must for everyone who's getting into data science. So the one on the left, Introduction to Machine Learning, the author is Andreas Müller, may not be known so much. This book may not be very popular. Andreas Müller is one of the developers of scikit-learn, which is an open source library. So if you're learning machine learning, you are going to use scikit-learn 100%. So this book is on sale, but the content of the book is actually available at scikit-learn's tutorials. So you don't have to purchase the book, but it would be nice if you purchase, but you don't have to purchase it. The content is available as scikit-learn's tutorials, free. So these two books are again wonderful. So the one in the middle, Jaron, it has two sections. This book, first section is machine learning, second section is deep learning. If you are totally new, machine learning part, of course, is for you. And he's doing a wonderful job in explaining the topics. Wonderful job. On the right-hand side, again, it's a great book. So you can also have some coding experience to develop very basic machine learning algorithms from scratch. So that's what I like about this book. Okay, so these are some of my, suggestions about where you can learn machine learning or data science from. So again, data science is a great field. You're gonna be working with people from different disciplines. You're gonna be working with statisticians, mathematicians, experts of the field. You might be a combination of yourself, a statistician, a mathematician, computer scientist, or even an expert of the field. By the time you will become an expert of the field, it's very, very satisfying. And I don't know. So I really like the field I'm in. So if you are interested in joining this knowledge worker domain, okay. Again, these are my humble advices to you. If you are interested in our program, full stack program, we can give more information about our program. But that is all I wanted to say about today's presentation. So if you have any questions, anything, please, we are here. Let us know. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Dr. John, for the presentation. Yeah, I would like to add that as Magnimind Academy, we have 2 boot camps, and Dr. Jerome mentioned why boot camps will be helpful. And compared to other master's program and other programs. So while we're putting actually our boot camps, we actually screen all those master's programs around the US, all the top ones, and all the other boot camps too. We design our boot camps for that. So we have 2 boot camps, full stack boot camp. We're starting from scratch, teaching scratch. We advise people who study data science or want to start or study it a little bit, beginner to intermediate level. So we are instruction plus project-based training. There will be classes and there will be projects in the full stack mentorship program. We have the second program we call mentorship plus internship program. They're both 15 weeks. Mentorship plus internship program are designed for people from intermediate to advanced level. So if someone mentioned that they did master's program, so people just study data science well, but they don't really have a good chance to do projects, to polish what they learn, to practice it. Does that program provide that? And we also provide internship experience with our affiliated companies where you can get a good experience, especially most jobs require a good experience to learn the data science or practice it. So that one is you work with a lot of mentors. So in both programs, you get exposed to around like 4 to 6 mentors, especially in full stack, or also in the mentorship program, you get this work with 3 to 4 mentors. So we work with students, and most of them, we understand their needs one-on-one, and we try to get them to work in those top companies and great jobs. And we provide also career support, interview practices, interview Q&A sessions, career coaching. So if you need any of this information, these are we have links shared earlier, and you can click those links and learn about programs. I will reshare it as well. Any questions about any of our programs? Yeah, welcome to send us an email. I should reshare those links because some of you joined later. I'm sharing our email as well.
There's a question, Dr. Baday. Viv is asking, how long on average does a data scientist go from 0 to good on Python? 4-6 months? I think 4-6 months will be sufficiently enough for you to learn a good amount of Python. Yeah.
Yep. So like one thing we require for the data science, like for the full stack, we say beginner to intermediate, although we teach from scratch, we really expect you to have a good math and stat background. Because if you you need to be good in analytical skills to do data science. Then we know that you can really figure out the coding and the easy part. And plus, we still we have a stat math class for data science separate, where we teach enough to do the work. But again, like if you have analytical skills, you could be a data scientist. So, and we review your applications to just make sure you're fit for the program. If you're not sure which program you will fit, we can have an interview with you and then understand your level, and we can recommend which program will be good for you. Yep. So yeah, please send us all these questions if you have. So there's some more question here.
Yeah, Mirala, you're welcome. So thank you for participating.
So there is Daniel as asking that questions. I have long years of experience in software engineering, and I still find quite challenging the code in pandas, and also know the process how to solve data problems. I mean, yeah, I come from a lot of software experiences too, and still shifting to Python and pandas is just in another world. Like, but I think it's just regular practice, step by step, building it. It will help you. Dr. Jaran, you can add more to it. Yeah.
Yeah, the book that I suggested, Daniel, what is that? The Python for Data Science. It's doing a very good job introducing pandas. But again, I mean, we all know, right? So learning from a book, learning from a lecture is not enough. So we need to practice. One thing I would suggest is go ahead and then check the Kaggle's website. You know Kaggle, so it's the platform for data science enthusiasts. So they have a project, they have the data, and then you see a lot of solutions. For a single project, you may see a lot of solutions. Pick the solution that received the most number of votes, or pick 2-3 solutions that received the most number of votes. Download the notebooks, and then only copy the part at the very beginning. So most of the data manipulation is going to happen at the very beginning. Data cleaning, data merging, all will happen at the very beginning. Copy them, and then organize it. Okay, so step by step, and then study it, and then delete the answers and repeat it for yourself. So I find this for myself very, very beneficial.
There's a question about ChatGPT. Do you think that will replace us?
Oh, no, Fatima. So yeah, ChatGPT is only going to make the quality of the work we are doing better. It's not going to replace.
It's making us more efficient. We're already using it. Definitely ChatGPT, we do a lot of projects, and Dr. Jaran and I've been doing a lot of projects. It will, we don't expect any program will just go ahead and do the project for us, okay? But it will make our work more efficient. It's just a different version of Google search, maybe better version. So more questions? Yeah, please let us know if you have any further questions, if further assessments, further need, just send us an email. Actually, I only share our info email. I can share my own personal email. Dr. Jaran can share his as well. And yeah, welcome. So, yeah. Okay. So, and we have more events upcoming in our meetup groups. We'll have a lot of free lectures and meetups, and hope to see you in our future events. So have a good rest of the weekend. Bye.